Good evening, how are you?
Good, thank you. You know, Mark, you are, without a doubt, I don't know, for people who don't know you, one of the world's great optimists. I mean, I know you're a worrier too, but you get up every day assuming you're going to do something special with the day. And I think you got some good news for us because you've been the one crowing in this studio for the last year and a half, to have a positive outlook, while some others have been coming in not having a positive outlook.
Right. Unfortunately, a lot of people, particularly economists and analysts and the writers for different publications, always look at news, and even when it's good news, they talk about the downside. Now, when February's figures came out just recently, we finally have an agreement that things are rolling in the right direction. And even the analysts, obviously they talk about the government sequestration and the cuts coming, that's going to factor in. But even the analysts say we're now gathered the steam that we need, we're in the right direction, and we're building. From the figures from last month, we're now, the unemployment rate is now at 7.7%, so it's significantly below 8. And one of the big areas, Jeff, that the economy added jobs, which was a big issue that everybody's been watching, is the construction area. 48,000 jobs were added last month, which is a huge, significant number. The economy continues to add jobs in the non-farm area for office and professional hiring. Healthcare continues to hire. Everything is on a steady stream, but totally we
You don't
added.
see it as situational or a bump or any kind. There's no political agenda because the election already happened.
Right. It's finally.
So you feel it's real.
I feel it's real. They beat expectations. I think that the expectations were we were supposed to add about 160,000 jobs. Instead, we added 236,000.
Housing is better, which makes a big difference.
Housing is definitely better. I think it's...
the audio industry has been holding its gains. It hasn't been dying.
Correct. Now, what's interesting when you talk about housing, nationally, I mean, again, it depends on the areas. Even places like Las Vegas and Florida that were hit hard are finally showing some unbelievable signs. The inventory is down, and the percentages, I think values have gone up like almost 8%.
Well, you know, you and I both go to Florida. I go more than you do so far. And it's amazing with me in Florida. Once you leave the ocean and you go inland, it seems like there's just an infinite amount of property always available. And I think that's been part of the problem with Florida, I think, has been overdevelopment.
Correct. I mean, the property was overdeveloped, but now you finally have people, because of the pricing, are able to afford houses down there, and inventory is lessening and lessening. So I think we're seeing a positive. The other interesting part is employers are losing rationale why to delay hiring now. So, for example, workers that were hired, particularly in the construction industry or in the office industry, I think it was about 32 hours a week in average that they worked. Now it's pushing toward like 39 hours versus the 32. And once that happens, employers really need to hire somebody because you really have pushed the limit. And when you're talking about construction or office jobs, then you're talking about time and a half after 40 hours. So not only can you only do so much, can workers only add so many hours to their time, but you really, without being exhausted, but you really need to then add. Now, the interesting part about it, which is the other price that economists are talking about, what's going to happen with the government, because there's where there may be some issues because of this sequestration process. The government's going to have to make some cuts, and it could be a huge group of cuts with the military, with any different type of government job. That I mean, we don't have to worry about Congress trips abroad, but just in terms of their jobs with the government in any level, including the military, that could bring down the rate. But what we're seeing is we're still on a steady path that some of the military people could get absorbed in the private industry, and it's not going to it's not going to come down. It's on a steady course. In fact, the government is not helping the government is not helping the whole economy when they're and what the Fed's doing by having these different cuts. But we're definitely in the right direction, and I'm talking to people, and they're finally saying yes. Now we will definitely hire.